Welcome back, boys and ghouls. This is Sarah Stephenson, and my co-host over here is Mike Stephenson.
Hello, you guys.
So this is Boys and Ghouls film review. So to give you all the awesome, gorish details
Ghoulish details.
and a few spoilers here and there.
And a few spoilers. No, what's that? What's that be a spoil? It's not new. Oh, it is new, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it was just
Yeah.
This latest review we're doing is on a TV series that just came out this year, and it's none other than Creepshow season 2.
Yeah, we did season 1. I think
Last year.
March. Last March.
No, last year.
It was last year. Sure.
Positive.
Okay. A while ago now.
Mike here is forgetting forgetting which movies we've been reviewing a lot.
I'm going home. I am home. That's okay. Anyway, the original one was released on Shudder, and I believe this one was released on Shudder as well.
Yeah, well,
I don't use Shudder, so it's
well,
there
if you're going to
it.
make a season 1, you have to make it sure that it's the season 2 is on the same.
Well, so yes, on the
Stream
same
site.
streaming service. Yeah. So those of you who are on Shudder, there it is. And it might be other places too. Now I don't know. And if you're not on Shudder and you can't get onto it, or you got problems, whatever. Look, honestly.
Last year before.
You know, it is around if you look.
Yeah, last year when we were getting close to Christmas time, I was trying to make a plan of doing the Creepshow, that Christmas special.
The animated one.
No,
the
other one dealing with shapeshifters.
Yeah.
But we didn't have enough time to schedule something like that.
So we made that the next week or so, or no, maybe the
Or
next one.
during Christmas time, considering this is a Christmas special.
OPT.
All right, moving back along.
Moving right along.
So I think this one is pretty an awesome one, and it has a lot of good Creepshow references in this one.
Well, and there's a guy's name who keeps popping up. It's Greg Nicotero. Now, some of you don't know who Greg is, so I hope, Greg, I pronounced your name right. Greg is a makeup artist, a very good one, special effects sort of makeup. Yeah.
Cool.
He's also done a lot of directing in different movies. I won't go into what his list is, but I will mention what he's done here. He's done a bit of writing as well. He's a good all-rounder, but he's a very talented man as well. And that shows in what shows he's been, movies and programs he's been involved with. So yeah, good on you, Greg. You've done very well with this anthology. I think he actually made the first Creepshow movie. I think he directed it. I can't remember. I haven't got the notes here in front of me.
Well, the original Creepshow movie was done by George A. Romero.
No, not Creepshow. The Creepshow movie. Stephen King. I think Greg had something to do with the first movie. I don't know whether director or makeup, or he had something to do with He was. I read it when I was doing the notes earlier on.
I thought that was Tom Savali.
No.
You often did the makeup for Creepshow, the movie.
I could run over my other computer and have a look. It doesn't matter. But I think he had something to do with the original Creepshow. In some capacity, okay? Right?
Anyway, everyone knows that George A. Romero did the Creepshow originally.
No, he might have done it. He might have produced it. I don't know what he'd actually did, whether he produced it or directed it. Okay? He might have done one role, but not both roles. Okay, what I'm saying.
Anyway,
moving right
I've been
on.
reading a little bit of George A. Romero, a biography book.
He's been reading lots of books.
And it's really interesting, considering that a lot of these filmmakers I've been looking at, they all say the same thing. They start off independent, and they try to take control of the work they do, instead of being told by producers in general to do this and be done with it.
Exactly. So we watched a movie about Alfred Hitchcock when he made Psycho, and he had the same problem. He wanted to make Psycho. He didn't want to be told what to do by the film studios. And he said, well, I want to do this because I want to get my hands dirty again. He wants to get back into being free to create.
So these the filmmakers we all know and love, like George A. Romero, John Carpenter, they got their hands dirty and kept and worked on their film projects on their own terms.
They stayed true to themselves.
Even though on the odd...
That doesn't happen a lot nowadays,
Even
does
on the
it?
odd day, they often get the request from a producer, could you end it this way for us because it will make the film look a little bit better for it?
Hey, look, anyone can make a suggestion.
Yeah, some people do.
But if it's a crappy suggestion,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Just like the guys I told you guys about who did
Yeah.
Conan the Destroyer.
Whatever.
I
Yeah,
mentioned.
they stuffed that up a
They
little bit.
stuffed it up.
Yeah,
you
they
know.
took away a lot. They toned it down a little bit so it wasn't so bloodthirsty and whatever. Took out some erotic scene or two and a bit of lovemaking, a bit of nudity and whatever, and they made it like Teddy Bear's Picnic.
Or at least a fantasy movie that only kids would watch.
Yeah, and it wasn't as good as it could have been.
Anyway, back to this movie. I mean, this TV
well,
series.
Actually, I will cover a few things before we start. The original season 1 was aired in at the end of 2019. They were going to do the other one earlier, season 2, but of course the coronavirus, they put it off a bit.
Yeah.
But they did in between time make an animated version and a holiday special, which we might do later on.
Yeah, I mentioned that already.
But we had, I know, I'm saying the animated one was done, released, I can't remember.
It was released last year.
End of last year, yeah.
Yeah, and we kind of reviewed that one before.
That's right. It was October and December had the other one.
Yeah, I kind of enjoyed the animated version. It was like a comic book, only a lot more different.
But wait, there's more. There's talk of a third season. Ooh, okay, right.
It's too bad they can't be longer, like Tales from the Crypt, 20 episodes instead of just.
Yeah, but they do short ones.
11.
I'm not saying they got it right or wrong. What they're doing, they're getting a couple of short stories, bung them together. Technically speaking, they were running about 9 stories, 10 stories into one season, but they're all half hour, so they're doing 2 at a time. So really, it's that's the way they want to do it. Makes it controls cost, and they don't have to pad that for a lot of boring stuff as well, which I'll get onto later on. But I normally do this part later, but I will mention now critical reception.
Okay.
Everyone liked it.
Hooray!
So, there's no one going, oh, it's crap. No. It's,
So no Rotten Tomatoes telling them bad script, yada yada.
Well, no, Rotten Tomatoes had an approval rating of 97%.
Goody.
And that's based on only 29 reviews. However, a Metacritic had a score of 64 out of 100. But both are generally favourable reviews.
Sweet.
Not everyone likes these sorts of anthology sort of shows. I like
Crazy.
them. I like them. I mean, you got Tales from the Crypt and you got all the other things. They're great. They're good fun,
Yeah.
Good, wholesome family fun and people dying all over the place and whatever.
Yeah.
And
Do you want me to dive into the stories individually?
I don't know. You deliver it how you want to.
Well, I'm going to keep them as brief as possible, folks.
I will mention just one, two more things before you start telling the story. Just getting back on to Greg Nicotero, he contributed in different ways on a lot of these. He is actually, I think he was instrumental in directing 4 of the episodes. And I think he wrote 1 or 2. Or no, he co-wrote, I think, a couple of the episodes. So, yeah, he's always getting in there, keeping his hand in the pie.
This is probably the first time I don't think we've seen Stephen King taking part in this one.
Yeah.
I don't think, or even Joe Hill playing part in this one.
But there's also a guy, one of the directors, is Rusty Cundiff. Now, do you know who Rusty Cundiff is?
Vaguely.
Tales from the Hood.
Yep, I know him.
You know those 3 movies?
Yeah.
3 movies.
No, he was in only 1 movie.
No, I'm not saying in.
Oh, yeah.
He actually directed them as well. He put himself into the movie.
Okay.
He directed those 2 or 3 movies. And he put himself into them, that first one, in one of the roles. But So Rusty is in here as well as a director.
Anyway, do you want me to dive into the stories now?
Yeah, might as well.
Yeah, so the first one on our chopping block is Model Kid. It's about a boy who is living with his mother who had cancer but dies, and he ends up living with his horrible uncle and his
His nice aunt and his horrible uncle move in to the his house on the pretext of, we're going to look after you. Now, they had nowhere else to really go.
Yeah, and he was unemployed. His uncle was unemployed.
His uncle was unemployed. He was a dropkick and had an attitude problem.
Yeah.
And he didn't like the kid.
Yeah, technically, when his mum died, he then tried to chuck out all his horror action figure type things.
The little boy lived in a bit of I wouldn't say lived in a fancy world, but he liked things like horror movies and whatever. Who doesn't?
So, to keep this short, the Model Kid was sort of an extended version of the prologue and the epilogue from the movie version of Creepshow that was done in 1982. The one with Joe Hill, who portrayed the boy in that one.
Prologue and epilogue.
Yeah, that's what I mean. In that one, it had a little boy being mistreated by his dad. This one is sort of an extended version of that very story. Yeah. So moving right along. So I will say at the end it has an interesting twist ending, which is really cool. And he gets and the uncle gets his just desserts. Anyway, moving on. So the next one is called The Public Television of the Dead. And this one is sort of has a reference to the Living Evil Dead movies.
Is that one the one they got the book?
Yeah, the book, the
Necronomicon,
I think it was.
Yeah, Necronomicon.
And it has that book, and it has a lot of references from that very movie.
Yeah, they opened up the book, and the television presenter started to read some of the text. Funny, now considering it's an old ancient language, it's really hard to figure out how he actually knew how to read it.
Yeah.
But I think it's like Antique Roadshow, so maybe he was a bit of a scholar. I can't remember.
Yeah. Anyway, some of the crew and the actors had to fight these zombie creatures off.
Yeah, people get killed and possessed, or just
killed
possessed.
And possessed.
Or they just possessed straight up. I can't remember.
I think that a few people got killed and then they got possessed. Whatever.
But anyway, they got possessed people walking over, and the ratings went up. So it's all been televised.
Okay, the next story is Dead and Breakfast, which makes me think of a novel that came out not too long ago, or a movie that was also called Dead and Breakfast too.
I've been places.
And this one is about food. And this one is about two hotel owners who inherited a house from an auntie who was turned out to be an insane killer.
Well, the story was the auntie or the great aunt or whatever it was. She was a spinster and she used to kill people.
Yeah, and they tried to
in the house.
And to boost business, they get an influencer to check out this place.
And she found it very boring
at first.
However,
but then things get taken out of hand, and
the female who's running the place is trying to force the issue, and she's trying to
scare the
crap out of this lady who's the influencer. In the end, something goes wrong, doesn't it?
Yeah,
I don't want to say too much.
Yeah, I won't tell you guys too much here.
But at the end of it, they got a lot of people coming to the bed and breakfast.
Yeah. Yes. Anyway, the next one is, what's it called?
Pesticide.
That one's about a pest exterminator guy.
Kill roaches, spiders, you name it, I do it. Yeah.
Yes, and he gets his own justice. Well, he's told by a man or an old a wealthy man to get rid of some poor people and poison them.
You exterminate all pests, and he takes them to his factory, and he went out the back here and he showed him these homeless people living at his factory. I want you to exterminate these people for me.
Yeah, so he makes a pesticide and puts it in their stew, and those very people died the next morning.
And he felt really, really guilty about it.
Yeah, and he had nightmares and stuff. And I won't tell you the twist ending
because it's good twist
too good.
Yeah, you'd like it, folks.
Again. So moving on, the next story is called The Right Stuff.
Now, which was that one?
That one's about takes place, say, several or 8 years in the future.
Yeah.
Dealing with two astronauts who are on a secret mission of sorts, testing out special gravity
That's right.
machine
Yeah.
thing that allows the individuals to stand on the on the surface of the ship.
Yeah. And they get contacted by their home base. They're saying we're going to have an alien spaceship come past, and someone's going to be first contact.
Yeah,
That's
and
right,
one of the astronauts decides to is a bit jealous and wants to be the first person to get in contact with these aliens. So in the end, he kills his colleague. But again, I won't tell you the ending to that one.
There's only two of them on this spacecraft. He kills his comrade. He's a co-worker. And he takes his place and goes to the alien ship.
But
we won't say anything more
else.
because that's where the plot shifts a little bit.
Yeah, so moving along. The next one is called Sibling Rivalry.
Yeah.
That deals with two
Children?
children.
Yeah, teenagers.
And this is sort of takes place between the psychiatrist at the school and the girl, and all this time that she's explaining and telling her about how her brother is trying to kill her, and this all takes place during flashbacks.
Yeah, and we can't say what, otherwise we'll give it totally away. But she's in there, and the psychologist or the counsellor thinks he's just trying to skip a class.
Yeah.
And to say my brother's trying to kill me, I don't know why, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
And in the end, it ain't what you think.
Yeah,
No,
it's really good, and I like it very much.
Good.
So moving on, Pipe Scream, I should say.
Pipe Scream.
That one's about a plumber
yeah.
who is called by a horrible landlady.
He's got this really old building which he doesn't do any maintenance on. These poor people are forced to live in it.
Yeah, the pipes are so old that that they
Really old and horrible. There's few holes
and
here.
not suitable for
and they might even have some lead piping in there.
and not
the old
suitable
stuff.
for children living there. And there are children living
And they
at this
think
house.
there's some sort of vermin hanging around.
Yeah,
in there,
so
like
he
a rat
ends
or
up
something.
typing the pipes, and soon enough we find out there's something living there.
There's something in the pipes. And we find out later it's not a rat. And, sorry, not going to say any more because you're going to be, ooh. But all I can say is that the landlady gets hers.
Yeah, her own justice.
There is justice in this world, folks.
Okay, the next movie is called Within the Walls of Madness. I think there was a movie called Walls of Madness.
I think so. The name that phrase does ring a bell. It could be part of a similar name movie, yeah.
So anyway, that one deals with it takes place in Antarctic or some frozen area.
Yeah, it could be Antarctic, yeah.
I think.
Anyway, there's
I should move forward. It takes place with a psychiatrist interviewing a prisoner who says that he's encountered a creature when he's in Antarctic, but no one believes him. And again, twist ending.
And he tells his story, and in the end, they're going to
execute him.
And I won't tell you anything more because something goes wrong, and he does actually in the end prove he's right.
Okay, this last one is a particular favourite of mine because I think it has an awesome story behind.
And what's this one called?
Night of the Living Late Show.
Gee, that's funny, isn't it?
And the interesting thing about this one, it has lots of references from George A. Romero's Night of the Living Dead and Day of the Dead and Dawn of the Dead zombie movies.
All thrown in there.
All thrown into this
actually,
movie.
That was written by Dana Gould, and whoever Dana is, Dana wrote a good story encompassing all those little bits of information, and melded it into a nice little. Actually, that was a longer one. That was the it was
longer.
The other one's doubles up. This is on a standalone on the last episode by itself.
Yeah. So in this one, I think is one of my favorites because. Anyway, it deals with a man
like George Romero,
who,
you
see, it's about this man who makes a special pod machine that allows you, the viewer, to look at movies as if you were one of the characters.
I'll explain a bit better for those of you who are into virtual reality. He went one step further and made a pod that you can lay down in, and you can run a movie and then put yourself inside the movie, and through some sort of artificial intelligence, you are able to talk to the people in the movie and interact with them.
Yeah. See, the movie he's in this throughout this movie is
the
called Horror Express,
which is a Hammer movie.
Yeah, and has Christopher Lee
and Peter Cushing, and they're the main actors. And he's always been in love with the leading lady. I can't remember her name.
Countess something or other.
Oh whatever.
Anyway,
the lady,
when he tells his wife about that the machine is working wonderfully, she thinks, "Oh, this is great. So you're gonna start."
Spending more time with me.
Spend more time with me, all this stuff.
He spent more time in his pod because he's in love with the lady inside the movie.
Yeah,
so he's having an affair with the lady in the movie.
Yeah, and once his wife gets wind of this, she's upset. And just so you know, she's a wealthy woman.
Yeah.
His wife.
He used her money to make the machine.
Yes.
So she's starting to wonder: did he actually marry me because he loved me, or did he marry me for my money?
Yes. So anyway, she then goes inside the movie, and she confronts the Countess, and we get a bit of a fight scene, and she meets the creature, and before the creature kills her, she's able to get out of the machine.
But she realises if you get hurt in the movie, you get hurt in the real world as well.
Yeah, this kind of snaps an idea in her head. So the next morning, the guy goes into the machine again, and while he's tampering around with it, she then comes in and she kind of changes the movie to Night of the Living Dead.
So he shows up there with Dwayne Johnson, whatever.
Bill and all the other characters.
All the people. And all the other nice people stuck in that house.
Yeah.
So I'm in the wrong movie, and he doesn't realise that he's in the wrong movie.
Yeah. Anyway, I do think that one thing I like about this movie is how they layered the old footage with the new footage.
It's so he could talk to them. They look like they're talking back to him.
Yeah,
and he really wasn't, obviously.
Yeah, and there were moments where he just walks past you, the characters, like he was really part of the story.
But when he talked to them, they was cued properly, so it was good. But what I was going to say is we can't say anything more because this also has a really good twist at the end of it.
Yeah.
And let's just say his wife gets her revenge.
Yes.
End of story.
But I do like it.
It's really good.
That it's really clever how they did this. I mean,
it's brilliant.
It's like bringing, making the old kind of. Throughout this movie, they did a little layering throughout the movie where the character can walk past two individual characters and go on his merry way.
They made 3 layers, that's all.
Yeah,
but when you're talking to them and they're talking back to you, but they digitally remastered the movie so it looked like it was a fresh movie too.
Of course, there were moments where he has an encounter with the Countess alone in one scene, which has a stand-in, even though she doesn't look anything like her.
She looks similar, but not the same. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry about that, but
they couldn't do everything.
Yeah, true. Anyway, it looks okay from my point of view.
It was good fun. Yeah.
And I do think that it's worth watching, and I do like the fact that this was sort of a George A. Ramirez sort of tribute type movie.
And also, we love Hammer movies, so we had the best of both worlds.
Yeah, but it was interesting. They took, put in Night of the Living Dead and all the other Night of the Living Dead references and put it into this movie, which is kind of cool because this is George A. Ramirez's baby originally in the original movie. Yeah. The original movie was his baby, technically. Yep. Which is kind of wonderful when you think about it, that the very director decided to do that.
Yeah. So it did pretty good.
So that's all of them.
We don't want to give away any of the...
Yeah, the plot.
Not the plots, the end bits. Because the endings, I mean, yes... Some of the endings you can't see coming. Whoa, I didn't see that. Nice twist.
I may make them sound boring a bit, but the endings do add a bit of a thrill to the end of the movie.
And that's the part, the end bit, it builds up, and then you get a twist. Like Alfred Hitchcock would have been so proud.
Well, I often heard that Alfred Hitchcock inspired future generations of directors into making their movies or horror movies or thriller movies.
Having a horror movie or even an anthology of these weird movies or stories, you still got to have your build up. You got to have your drama. You got to have your suspense. You got to have them. It's got to gradually build up, and then you have your climax, which is. and the climax can be predictable or very, very unpredictable, or do a total bloody 180 degrees, go back in the other direction, say, well, didn't see that happening.
Yeah. I would have loved it if I wonder what George A. Romero's reaction would be like if he did see this the last episode. What would his reaction be?
I don't know. I think he would have been happy, but the point of it, it's only a bit at the end, where you got into the wrong movie.
Yeah, I love that reaction.
Whoops. I'm in the wrong movie, but didn't realise.
Yeah.
He is in the wrong movie.
Oh,
and
by the way,
vulnerable.
I should mention that she chopped off his finger.
No, don't tell.
Because once he presses the button, the fantasy's over.
Wait. When you're laying in this pod thing, you have your hand, your right hand or left hand, whatever, holding a grip with a button to terminate the session if you feel that you want to come out or you're in danger or something or other. And she let the cat out of the bag. When he was in there asleep, his wife cut his thumb off, so he couldn't come out. But you just gave it away.
Well, apart from
you gave it away.
Yeah, well,
we've been trying to give the people something to. Didn't say. No, they know what happened at the end.
Sorry,
he got stuck. He got stuck in the movie, and being Night of the Living Dead, we all know how that first movie ended up. Everyone died. So if he dies in the movie, he's going to be dead in the pod.
Ta-da. Ta-da.
Thanks for letting the cat out. We thought we were trying to save that for the people. Yeah, never mind.
Well, anyway, it was an interesting movie, that one. I do like the other ones. I like the sibling rivalry, and I like the model kid, and I do like the pipe scream one.
Look, they've all got something, okay? I mean, they're all... I'm not going to pick any particular one out because each of the stories is a good story. No, because it's what the director, who is directing the respective shows, episodes, or whatever, does with those stories.
Good point.
And if they've interpreted... Greg Nicotero did it. He directed some, but didn't direct the ones he wrote. Interesting. You'll think, if I wrote it, I might direct it. No, he didn't do that. He took someone else's idea and made it come to life, and the other directors did the same thing.
Yeah, I guess. I guess it's either a lot to take on.
If I had an idea for a movie or story, and I had a chance to direct a movie, great, I'll make it come to life.
The one thing I did
would you risk it to somebody else?
The one thing that I did pick in one particular scene, I'm not going to be picking them all movies. In the first one, Model Kid, they put a date on it saying this year was 1970 something, whatever.
Yeah.
And we see the Creepshow figurine, and that one Creepshow didn't appear until until the 80s. The movie, I mean.
That's okay.
I just mean.
But wait a minute.
Okay.
You said the movie. Was Creepshow based on any comic book?
No.
It wasn't. Okay.
Well, maybe it is,
might have been.
but I don't know if there was any figurines out back then.
There might have been.
I don't even know if it was a real comic book per se, because
I could run and check my computer.
Because we heard of Tales of the Crypt. That's a comic book. I'm aware.
They had a Crypt Keeper type thing in that as well. Tales of the Crypt. They had something like a Crypt Keeper type guy in those too, wasn't there? Yeah, and the people go in there and they'll tell the stories. And so you had a guy, but a bit like a Crypt Keeper.
Well, I think there was. I think it was a comic book, but I don't know.
Yeah. So that's where I got the figurine problem, because it's all comic book stuff.
I know. So, I just mean that I think the figurine would have been different back then.
Well, it might not be.
Considering that the look of characters back then would have been different.
They've changed a bit.
Like when you look at the Star Wars figurines back in the 70s, they would be different from the ones we currently have now.
The process of making them is a bit different.
And making more lifelike, while the ones years ago may have not had too much lifelike about them. They may not even look like the actual characters themselves.
Yeah. Luke Skywalker's got nasal hair and acne and...
Yeah. An example I'll pull up for you guys. When they had the Michael Myers mask, it was originally James Kurt mask, but they altered it by cutting the eyes and bleaching the hair different color and making the skin a bit white and all that.
Yeah. James Kirk, or
Yeah, originally
William
it was
Shatner,
a
whatever,
William Shatner mask.
Yeah, that's funny that.
It
For
is
William
funny.
Shatner.
I bet it was a shock finding out his mask was going to be a slasher movie.
You wouldn't notice it unless someone told you, and you look, oh yeah, I can see that, but it's not that close, but it's close enough. So
as I said before, not these type masks or stuff like that. No doubt they may not 100% look like the real deal. But then again, it's only a kid mask, so who the heck cares? Anyway, moving on, guys. So anything else you want to add, Mike?
Well, this is short because obviously not going into production details too much and whatever.
Because if I go into too much, we will reveal too much stuff.
No, I'm just trying to think of anything. I mean, I talked about Greg Nicotero and other people there writing their I don't know. Nothing we can always say. I mean, I got it a few days ago. When they first came up with the idea of the series back in 2019, they had a whole slew of stories. And over the 2 seasons, they've used most of those stories up. One of the stories they had thought about in the beginning was the Survivor type, which ended up being animated. And that sort of stuff. But most of the ones they actually got on this list here has shown up in those 2 seasons. So they stayed true to their formula, but I don't know what's coming up in the next group. Can't tell you.
Lies the wonderful creative process.
Yeah.
Which I love the creativity here.
Yep.
I certainly like it that in the model kid comic movie, that episode, in that one it had a few creep show references. Like we get to see him order a weird doll that kind of creates a bit of a problem for his uncle eventually.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, here's something. There was one of the episodes in this group was supposed to be aired on the first, sometime this year. I don't know which episode it was. And Marilyn Manson was supposed to be in it.
Marilyn Manson?
The singer?
I figured that.
And they couldn't air it due to multiple abuse allegations.
Oh.
So they replaced it with another episode.
Oh. That does sound serious.
Yeah. What else there? Season 2 began filming in September 2020, but was supposed to be March, but of course the coronavirus, they put it off. Because obviously where they're going to do the filming, they don't want to do social distance, as good, responsible people did.
I don't see the problem. It's going online, going directly to television, I don't see a very big problem.
Well, they still have to walk around. They have to be somewhere. They have to put a production crew together. They need audio people. They need first and second unit people. They need all these people.
I just meant that if you were going to release it and...
Yeah, but the people making the movie have to be protected as well.
I suppose.
Yeah, and then they can, So, that sort of stuff. No, I can't think of anything else. This is going to be a short one tonight.
Yeah, sorry, folks.
I could be wrong about George Nicotero in the early Creepshow movie. I think I read somewhere, but they could be wrong. But so don't take me for Sarah.
I'm confused because
you said George Romero had something to do with the first movie, but he didn't do necessarily every role, okay? He wasn't the tea lady. He might have been the producer or the executive producer or director. I don't know what he was in the first movie. But I think I read somewhere.
Because, I just don't know. I just never heard his name mentioned except for...
where I was reading it could have been wrong. So you follow George and other things a lot more than I do. So chances are where I was looking might have had some incorrect information on it. So I'll stand with Sarah on that George, Mr. Greg Nicotero was not involved with the first Creepshow movie. But he might have been in the second one or the third one or something. I do not know. Okay, I didn't look. Okay, there you go.
Anyway, so do you want to rate this now?
Oh yeah, the anthologies are fun. The stories are good, the direction's good, the film, everything's good about it. It's not like a full-blown horror movie, slasher movie stuff. There's not a bucket load of action going on necessarily, but it's good, scary, eerie, fun. So yeah, I would go along and give it 9.5, 10. 10. I'll give it a 10. Yeah, I'll be nice to these guys.
I think I'll give it 9 out of 10. I'm sorry, it's just like that. I feel like there's something that I'm not sure what it is, but is bothering me a little bit.
Well, that's okay.
Anyway, it's not.
But it's still a good watch. Like I said, it came through on Shudder. I don't know where it would be now, and I'm not going to go through all the streaming services for you. Do not know. If worst comes to worst, you might be able to find it as a torrent, because if it's done its syndication through the streaming services or whatever, you might have to pick it up on a torrent. Who knows? Anyway, live long and prosper, people. No. Oh, well, my fingers up. Can't you see it? No, okay, right. There we go.
So, so that's about it for us, folks. So this is Sarah Stephenson.
And Michael.
Saying, see you guys for the next one.
See you guys. Bye.
Bye.